Hey, welcome to another Shield of Dreams production. Conrad Negron, Alex Negron for Coachella Sports and Entertainment Stadium Authority. Alex, last week we talked about it being so hot. I'm freezing now. Or you're not, though.
Well, I put on pants today for the first time in 9 months, so that's a start.
I put pants on, too. Hey, it was a big week last week. They finished pickleball, the ultimate in sports tourism. They had huge crowds. They even had what were similar to tennis is parking problems. That many people were showing up.
Yeah, well, I live right very close to the tennis garden. I drive by and see all the people and the cars and the traffic, and that they even charged for parking.
They did, huh?
They were charged.
So it's free to get in, but they charge for parking.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Xavier. Xavier, for the first time, made CIF, and they're going to host Linfield Christian this Friday night, 7 o'clock. Actually, we're going to call the game if you're able to stay out that late.
What time does it start?
It starts at 7. What else is happening? I heard they have a new PGA president.
Yes, a Susie Whaley, the first time since the PGA's conception, has been elected to president of the PGA. So that's a milestone.
That's a milestone.
That's a milestone.
A lot of stuff happening as we get toward the end of November. Remember, December 1st, the first DFI football championship will be held at Shadow Hills, 6 o'clock. The SoCal Coyotes against the San Diego Bulldogs. Come on out and support us. It's going to be exciting. We got a lot of dignitaries, a lot of guys flying in. Joel Williams, who's the commissioner of the league, played at Notre Dame and played with Miami. Lynn Kane, legend at USC, won a national championship. He's the president of the league, and he will be there. And he played a lot of years in the NFL with the Atlanta Falcons. So,
what about Tom Flores? Are we going to have an honorary coach on the sideline?
Tom Flores will be there. Tom Flores, legend in the NFL, only NFL guy to win the Super Bowl as a player, assistant coach, and head coach. Head coach being the Oakland Raiders.
Oakland Raiders.
So he's a legend. He should be in the Hall of Fame. He's one of. You can tune in every Friday to the Coaches Show with Scott Alvarez and Tom Flores, and they talk about DFI. I mean, talking about the Players of the Week. Anything else happening out here?
One thing I was going to mention to the Desert Classic, as you were probably aware that the Career Builder dropped its sponsorship name, and it's called the Desert Classic starting in January, and they like to try and bring more people to the event and make it kind of fun. So we have Sammy Hagar, who's going to be performing on Friday night.
Sammy Hagar.
And Bad Company perforing on Saturday night.
Well, I can't drive 55.
Well, I feel like making love.
Oh, boy. Scott, you can always cut his mic. And then also, we've got the second annual Coyote Classic out at Indian Springs out there at Big Rock Pub, and that'll be on December 7th. That's a Friday. December 7th is a historical day in our country. And so everybody plan on getting your tee times. We're going to have cars and golf carts for hole-in-one. And I almost got a hole-in-one last year.
Yeah, you were about 10 feet short.
About 10 feet short. Anyway, today, Alex, exciting day today. We've got a great guest. We're waiting for a joyride to land the helicopter. Pooh Richardson, high school All-American, legend in Pennsylvania, played an All-American at UCLA Bruins, famous basketball organization and NBA legend. So he'll be here. We're trying to get clearance on the set. So he'll be here in a couple of minutes, and we'll be talking about that. We'll talk about the Bianca Ray, well, it was fun this weekend. Bianca Ray Foundation. We had about 160, 180 kids, and it was a retreat for boys in need. And we did the Above Line program. We did football. We did basketball. We did media. So we're going to show some of that stuff a little bit later in the show. So let's take a quick break. Let's see if I think I hear the helicopter. Mom tried to get on the helicopter with us, but it's just a little too fast for her. So it's my mom's birthday today. She's 91, and she's got all the alkaline anybody could ever need in their body. But also, quick story. Hi, Mom. My mom was getting a passport. She celebrates her birthday on October 13th. So years ago, Mom and Dad were going to go on a trip. She needed a passport. So she mailed to New York to get her birth certificate, and it came back female. And her birthday's November 13th. So usually women milk the birthday for like 30 days. Mom does 65 days of birthday.
Yes.
So we're celebrating. We have a surprise birthday party. Pooh Richardson's going to land the helicopters, bringing all kinds of cake and cookies. So we'll see if that comes through. Everybody check this out. Here we are for the Sport Report. Joy Ryan's going to take us up. We're going to check out the Coachella Valley. Really excited, everybody. Stay tuned. They do a weigh-in today, and that was embarrassing. But it's really exciting. Your new partner, Ivan, is coming along. You guys are branding this thing. Really appreciate you guys helping us out on Sport Report. All right. And all of our fans, take a look at joyride.com. It's really unbelievable. It's November. It's time.
Yes, it is.
There's the adventures you talked about, but also charters where people need to get to Vegas, need to get to L.A. You can make it in L.A. in about how long?
LA is 45 minutes. Yesterday we did 45 minutes from Thermal Airport, fully loaded, all the way to downtown San Diego. Also, we signed another contract for another year with NBC.
If Alex goes, it's a full boat, right? The Sport Report with Conrad Negron, brought to you by Coachella Sports and Entertainment Stadium Authority. Today we've got a special guest, Pooh Richardson. Pooh, good to see you.
Hey, Conrad, how are you?
Hey, I'm fantastic. Thanks for taking your time. We'll talk about you in a few minutes, but let's talk about Bianca Ray Foundation and the retreat for boys this last weekend you participated in. How'd you get involved in that?
Well, I got a call from Jack from the Slice.
That's the Coyote. That's the Coyote's Pizza place.
Yeah, Jack gave me a call and introduced me to Bianca, and we started talking about the things that she was involved in as far as charity work in the community. Mm-hmm. So I decided to get involved and lend my services and any help that I can give the young kids. It was a great event. I enjoyed it. It was special, and I look forward to doing many more things like that in the future.
Well, she does a great job. She's been working with girls, and then we implemented the Coyotes Above the Line program this time. And boy, you see some these boys are some of them are not, they're not in good shape, from a standpoint of homes and not having fathers.
Yes.
And you looked at some of these kids, and a couple of our guys, Ron DeGrande, Jake Sheffield, Pastor Cummings, he's an amazing man. He can change that.
Yeah, it's all about support and direction. If you have the support, direction, and discipline, you can do anything in life. The things that's so available for kids nowadays is tremendous. Way more things than we had when we were younger.
Of course.
But we had a stronger family base, and so it was the trade-off. And I would take the family base more than anything that it is today for some of these kids. But having guys like yourself and organizations that's out there helping kids is the most important thing.
Well, it's really interesting when Pastor Cummings and Bianca put some of the footage on. We showed it yesterday, but some of these kids that stood up and didn't have a father, and Coach Cummings, is just sort of an emotional man, and he went to hug. A lot of these young kids have never been hugged,
right?
Never been told, "Son, did you have a good day?"
And really don't know how to accept that without taking a minor offense. Is just different when you never had that before. It's just you can go through life and not have open arms to you and someone to wrap their arms around you, and it's difficult sometimes for young men to hear another man say I love you, and for it not to be anything other than macho.
Yeah.
Everything has to be macho, and sometimes it just takes a bit of caring to help some of these young fellas,
Well,
they just need to care. You
saw some of them change, and if we can change one, they will follow. Let's take a quick look at the interview I did with Bianca Ray, and then we're going to talk. we're going to talk some UCLA basketball. Let's see if you still got the memory. Okay, because
don't go so deep. Don't go too deep.
I'm going back to Lou Alcindor,
Oh,
baby. Check this out. Report. We're here at Palm Valley School with Bianca Ray Foundation. Bianca,
Hi.
welcome. Good to see you.
Great to be here. Thank you so much. You guys have been such a part of this special day so far. It's going great.
Well, it's going great. You've been working with a lot of in-need girls for the last couple, 3 years, and now you're working with boys today. Tell me a little about that.
For the last 4 years, more than 1,000 little girls had the chance to learn about leadership and self-love and becoming their best selves. I think that in society we tend to think, girls maybe need more help in the cuddling, and the boys just are expected to kind of be tough and deal with it. And, our group, our committee, we're talking and realizing we want to help that other population as well. We want to help little boys. So enter the 5th annual Bianca Ray Foundation Ray of Hope Retreat, first ever for little boys.
Well, we're here at Palm Valley. What a campus.
Oh my gosh. But we pulled in and my mom's like, kids go to school here. This is so fancy.
I want to go back to school. But, it's interesting. We spoke with the police chief, Reyes.
Yes.
And when you can get some thoughtful words and
I know.
a vision to these young people that are going to make the decision to do something bad or do something good, it's kind of either way. The old saying, show me your friends, I'll show you who you are.
Amen to that. There's a quote, I think, you're only as successful as the 6 people you spend the most amount of time with. And I just want these kids to know that, number one, be smart about your present. But number two, your future doesn't have to be your present. There are ways to improve your situation, to be better. Like I said to Chief Reyes, to kind of talk to the kids about, some of them might think, maybe I've already made bad decisions. Maybe I already hang with a bad crowd. Like, is it fixable? And the examples I gave, Michael Jordan, it was actually his junior high school basketball team. He didn't make, he was cut from the team. And you think somebody like that could have given up and like, oh, I'm done. There is no future in this game of basketball. And he became, of course, Michael Jordan. So I think that I just want these kids to know, maybe they've made bad decisions. Maybe they don't have a dad. Maybe they don't have a good role model. That doesn't mean that they still can't become something great.
We've always said that failure is just a result. You're not a loser if you fail. It's just a result. So there's no reason, there's no reason to quit.
I've heard no's before. I hate the word, but we've heard no's, right?
Oh,
yeah.
No is only a reason to continue.
I know. Kind of gives you a little bit of a push.
It just gets exciting.
I have to give a big thank you to our sponsor for the day. This is the Rave Hope Retreat presented by G&M Oil Company, the Pearsons. They've just been so generous in making this retreat possible. It's people like them that are really helping change these kids' lives.
They're doing a great job, and it's it makes me feel good when we're around the kids, be able to do something. But Bianca, great job.
Thank you.
Congratulations on your little your move into the LA market.
Yeah, thank you. It's been so exciting. Such a dream.
So did you start the fire?
Oh my gosh, it's horrific. It's just so sad to watch. People, what they're dealing with right now. It's an interesting time to have just moved to that market. Yeah,
when you're showing news, and when you look at that and the people that are affected by it, but they're still blessed that they're still alive.
I know. I have a friend texting me that they're evacuated, showing me their homes.
Yeah.
Pictures of their homes. It's just. It's hard to watch, but I was explaining to the little boys right now in our media group, that's what we do as journalists. We rush close when people rush away, and it's exciting being a reporter again. I was anchoring before, which I loved, and that was huge, position in my career, but it is fun to kind of get back out in the community, and it's a great way in a new community to learn the community and then work your way back up.
You got to do your research. You got to read. You got to look them up. You got the internet today. So for all the kids watching out there, go for it.
Thank you all so much for being a part of the first ever Rave Hope Retreat for boys. I told them they're making history.
They're making history.
Thank you
Bianca,
so much.
Thank you so much.
The Coyotes have been so wonderful. Right, such an inspiring message.
For the Sport Report, I'm Conrad Negron. I'm out. Sport Report, Conrad Negron, today with Pooh Richardson, another Shield of Dreams production brought to you by Coachella Sports and Entertainment. Pooh, we'll take a short look back, and we'll talk about what's going on today. You were a legend out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and you were on the McDonald's All-American. I'm going to give you a brief history just because I know. You went to Ben Franklin High School.
Yes.
Throw me some Benjis, bro. Throw me some Benjis. You never heard that before, right?
Benjis.
That's it. And you won the title for your high school team.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about how that in your young, you're just getting going. You're in high school. You're winning state championships.
Yeah, it was fun. And you're not recognizing what you're really accomplishing, and as a team, not just myself. And fortunately for us, we didn't have to go far for competition because our rival school was Dobbins, which was Bo Kimball and Hank Gathers played.
Really?
At Dobbins. And then off that team, they had like 3 guys that went pro. You know, they had Doug Overton, and Bo Kimball was a pro. Unfortunately, Hank passing, he would have been a pro.
Oh, he was a beast.
Yeah, he was a monster. And
really sad when that happened.
We've been friends since we were, 12 years old.
Wow.
And Philly was really, it was a concentrated area where, you didn't have to go far. We never had to travel to play against competition, or AAU wasn't as big. And when AAU was there, but it wasn't as big. And with the talent we had in our city, we didn't have to go far and travel different states to play against the best, because the best was in
They were all right
Philadelphia
there.
at the time. Yeah.
Or a train right away.
Yeah.
We're with Pooh Richardson. And then Walt Hazard was recruiting you. You were one of the most highly sought after talents and guards in the country.
One of them.
And you were working like this magic stuff. How was that? Walt Hazard was a legend anyway as a player at UCLA. It wasn't hard to make a decision to go to UCLA.
No, not at all. A large part of that was the fact that he was a very good friend of my high school coach. They grew up together pretty much, and they were really good friends, and it just made the transition that much easier for me, because you was going from one guy to the next guy who knew each other, who understood each other, and they had a great relationship. So it just made it real easy for me.
So how your time at UCLA, obviously All-American, freshman, All-American. What was it like? You guys played some big games in your life. I mean, here you are out of high school, and now you're playing the big boys.
It was my first game. Actually, they was kind of bringing me along, not slowly, but not as fast as you were probably want to. Most freshmen are like that. And ultimately, when they coach decided to put me in the game, it was we were playing St. John's, and
Carnesecca, right?
Lou Carnesecca, Walter Berry, Mark Jackson, Shelton Jones. You can go on. They had some good pros. I was nervous. I wasn't expecting to start the second half, but I played a little in the first half, and then coach decided to start me the second half, and was never out the starting line ever since.
You kept playing. I think you played every game, didn't you?
Yes.
You have I think it's 833 assists, which is all time.
Yes.
Highest 3-point percentage of all time. The closest on assists, I think, is 181 behind you. I got this in my head because
you did your
I just knew that. I just know that.
A
little research, but no, I mean, I totally remember you as the very quick. You were they called you one of the greatest facilitators because you ran the offense. I mean, you don't run the offense and don't get assists.
Yeah.
So did you?
Well, it's not hard to get assists when you're playing beside Reggie Miller.
Yeah. Well, Reggie Miller. I was going to talk about Reggie Miller. You just dish it out to Reggie, right?
Yeah, anywhere on the court.
Well, he could knock it down there.
Yeah,
huh?
from deep, man. From deep. I've never seen anything like that in my life. Didn't know much about him before I got there. And when I got there and actually saw him in practice, I mean, you see some shots he take in the game that seems to be, questionable, but he makes them all the time in practice. So when he takes a 40-footer fading away, no one.
They didn't
really
even
cares.
have 3 points then.
Yeah, nah. They brought it in later, but he would have scored a tremendous amount of points if they would have had the 3-pointer.
So he could still talk you trash during practice, right?
No, not as much. He was in college, he was more or less, focused on trying to get better and prove all the critics wrong about his game, which he ultimately did. That's why he's going into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Now, you're the assistant coach at the time was Sidney Wicks. And Sidney Wicks was a legend out of Los Angeles with the other
Curtis Rowe.
Curtis Rowe.
Yes.
And they played on those Bill Walton teams that won. When I was growing up, UCLA never lost. So
we can get back to that.
we can get back to
but
that.
the climate of college sports has just changed. The way recruitment is, guys going to school for 1 year and going to the pros.
You didn't even get free shoes back then.
A couple times we got free shoes.
Yeah, but the school paid for them.
But yeah, and they were limited. It wasn't like unlimited supply of shoes or gear. You had to be really, really cool with the equipment manager, and that didn't happen that often because everyone was playing that angle.
Yeah, everybody had even the seventh stringers.
Yeah,
we're
right.
still playing that. So, what do you most recollect about UCLA? Obviously, a spotlight always big on UCLA basketball. What do you remember as maybe some of the biggest games or seasons that you played in?
All of them were great, and especially the ones we went far. Won a couple games in the tournament. They were great, but I think I had more fun, away from the court. I think the people that I met in school and roommates that I had, who's gone on to be successful people, and still having those relationships, it was more about the social
life
environment. And at that time, UCLA's social environment can get you in a lot of trouble, grade wise. If you're not focused, especially in your sport, you're not focused, because we had so many people on campus, and it wasn't filtered as much as it is today, as far as getting people in, because we had a program which was conducted and projected by affirmative action. So you had so many people getting opportunities to go to school that normally probably wouldn't have, and that was during my era. So I had a chance to be on campus with so many people. We were so crowded there at school.
Well, my brother used to tell the joke. He goes, "I went to UCLA for lunch."
Well, that's not a bad lunch.
That's not a bad lunch. I mean, UCLA, you could walk. You couldn't do the whole campus in one day.
Yeah,
I mean, you got to get a car to get across that thing.
Almost, and so it's so many hills up and down. You can get one thing. You'd be in great shape. For sure.
But they didn't have cell phones. They weren't taking pictures of you. Having a beer at the student lounge.
No, none of that.
That didn't happen.
None of that. The social media game is really different. But it has its uses. To be really good. But back then we just had regular communication.
Well, I always say,
someone, call them on a house phone. If not,
call them on
meet
the.
'em.
Well, no, the party's at David's tonight. That's it.
That's it.
You don't have to Twitter it.
That's it.
I don't have no GPS. If you don't know how to get to David's, you're missing the party. Hey, we're hanging with Pooh Richardson today here on the Sport Report. We're going to get back and talk a little bit about the NBA. We could talk all day about the college.
Yes.
But let's talk about the NBA, and then I got a couple of rants I'm going to throw at you, so you better be ready. You better be ready.
How do I get ready for that?
Well, they thought I was Connie Hawkins when I was started, and they called traveling on me. They called traveling on me. We're with Pooh Richardson. Everybody stay tuned. Here we are for the Sport Report. Joey Ryan's going to take us out. We're going to check out the Coachella Valley. Really excited. Everybody stay tuned. They do a weigh-in today, and that was embarrassing. But it's really exciting. Your new partner, Ivan, is coming along. You guys are branding this thing. Really appreciate you guys helping us out on Sport Report. All right. And all of our fans, take a look at joyride.com. It's really unbelievable. It's November. It's time.
Yes, it is.
There's the adventures you talked about, but also charters where people need to get to Vegas, need to get to L.A. You can make it in L.A. in about how long?
LA is 45 minutes. Yesterday we did 45 minutes from Thermal Airport, fully loaded, all the way to downtown San Diego. Also, we signed another contract for another year with NBC.
If Alex goes, it's a full boat, right? Hey, we're back on the Sport Report. Conrad Negron brought to you Shield of Dreams by Coachella Valley Sports and Entertainment Stadium Authority. I get a little tongue-tied. We're sitting with Pooh Richardson talking UCLA basketball. I used to watch you dish it out to Reggie Miller, but then also you got drafted by the Minnesota Timberwolves, number one, first ever Timberwolf. That's obviously an expansion time.
Yes.
You got drafted. What was that like? Did you just say, cha-ching, or the money was just starting to come into the NBA?
You know, it was just starting to come in the NBA, but you know, it was just the experience of going through being drafted and realizing the goal that you had since you was a youngster. And then I had an advantage. And some people look at going to an expansion team at that time as a disadvantage. I felt it was an advantage because being a first-round draft pick, I was going to get to play a little bit earlier than the guys who was drafted the same year that I was drafted in because I was on a new team. And some of the guys that, you know, careers could have been a little different here and there, and everyone wishes to have a great career, not just a good one. And those guys had to go in, and whoever was in their position was already there, our veteran guys. So, you know, they had to play that out for about 2-3 years before they had the opportunity. I was able to get thrown into the fire right away as a rookie.
So what was that like? I mean, you're right in the fire. You're playing, you know, some of the best players they ever played.
Yes,
NBA.
during that year, not even during that year, during my career, there was so many great players. At least I'm gonna say about 50 of those guys that was in the top 100 played during that time. So it was very hard, even with the great numbers you would have. It was just very hard to get to different all-star games and make all-star teams. One year I made an average like 19 and like 8 assists. And just couldn't get in because you had guys like Stockton, Magic, and those guys.
I never heard of those guys.
Yeah, how about that, right? First-time Hall of Fame ballot guys. You know, it was just so different. It was so different and difficult.
What was it like? Because I obviously I was a Laker fan growing up in L.A., and Magic changed basketball, I think.
Sir. Yes.
How was it like playing against Magic? It's just, I mean, again, I saw him up close. He's so huge,
yes,
but so fast.
Yeah, and so smart. You know, very, very brilliant basketball player. You know, during the course of the years, I wasn't in all of Magic at that time because I had the opportunity to play with him in the summers because of UCLA, all the guys up there playing in the summer, all the pros there, even to today. All the pros up there playing. So as a college kid, or especially a freshman, get to go out there and play against the Magics, the Worthies, and the Isaiah Thomases, and all those people as a 19, 18-year-old kid. So when the season started in the NBA, I was like, I'm used to these guys, you know. And some people took it when I got an interview my rookie season, prior to starting the season in Minnesota, some people took it as me being cocky or being, you know, pompous, I guess. But it wasn't that. It was just that I had the level of confidence because I played against these guys all my 4 years in school since I was a freshman. And remember, I went to school for 4 years.
That was your minor leagues, for lack of a better example. Yeah.
And it was the best players in the world that I was actually playing against, minus a few guys who probably never came out to UCLA to play. But I was playing against all these guys. So to me, it wasn't like having an ego or anything or being pompous or being cocky. It was just that I had a sense of confidence because I knew what I was up against. And sometimes, you know, when you know what you're up against, you have a certain confidence because you know how to prepare yourself up to what you have to go face. And I had the experience to do that. And what made Magic special was that he was a great creator, and he would do things in the course of the game that I've never seen in my life, though.
Well, he would do that thing, and then he'd throw it behind the back, and he'd look up at the left and throw to the right.
Yes.
But that's what you...
How do you know that guy was there?
How did you know that guy was there? But you did it, too. I mean, you were a facilitator, behind the back, no looks. That put the flash in the game a little bit,
yes.
which I think when Larry Bird and Magic Johnson
yes.
came on board, the NBA was not really at the high that it is, 10, 20 years ago now.
Yes.
Who are some of your who's from not a competitive point? Who are your favorite players? Just like they could play any day, all day, any time of year.
Yeah, I always, you know, I grew up in Philadelphia, so I was always a Dr. J guy.
Of course,
you know. But you start realizing as you start getting older and start getting closer to your dream. Well, I couldn't be Dr. J because the physical attributes he had, which I just would never possess those things. Yeah. So I had to be a little bit more realistic about what I was going to be and who I was going to be.
So you weren't going to fly?
Nah, that wasn't going to happen. I'm much of a landlubber, they would say.
You could jump over the Coke can, right?
That's about it. Make a layup. But you had guys like John Stockton, who I admired a lot, Isaiah Thomas, Kevin Johnson, and then some of the guys that came in my years, Tim Hardaway's, guys like Mookie Blaylock. I can go on and on. B.J. Armstrong, who won championships with Chicago Bulls, who's now a terrific agent. He representing players now. So I had the opportunity to play against some really, really good players and be involved in the NBA is a great thing. Matter of fact, I just got back from being in Minnesota for two weeks ago, and they brought me back for a celebration and some honoring stuff like that. For still being in some of the record books after all these years, and it just felt good going back there.
Now that you're 35, I mean, it makes you feel younger.
Yeah, like actually not played since then, right? But it was great just going back there, to seeing everyone, some of the people that's been in the organization for over 25, 30 years. The weather was questionable. Yeah, that's for sure.
Well, that's why you're stuck in the desert. You know where to go. Tell me about the big men. Okay, the big men obviously always have dominated basketball. You start with Kareem and you keep going, and his hook can still score. Yes. He says he can score anytime today, and I believe
he surely can.
But do you think this is where I'm going to need some help?
Okay.
So traveling is 3 or 4 steps. Is it 3 or 4?
That traveling is 3 steps. Actually, traveling is 2.5. Unless you play the NBA.
Well, let me ask you this question. I mean, Shaq jumps on his pivot and then jumps on 2 feet. That's 3, and he did it for his whole career.
Well,
Am I overlooking it?
Well, you're not overlooking it. You're right. But some people establish certain moves that they have. They're not going to allow you to get away with that constantly unless it's the same move that you make repeatedly. You got to go over and over again and make that same move. If you make that same move, normally they won't call it. Just like Elijah Wan with the drop step, fade away, and all that stuff. Guys in the process of that move may change pivot feet.
Okay.
But that happens.
Well, I like the interpretation because I give some of my friends a hard time. I go, maybe you watch the game if they call traveling, And some of these guys, sometimes they're carrying it over too, aren't they?
Yeah, some of them. But if it's not so blatant, they won't. But what happens is, they want to have anything you do in life. You want to figure out what you're getting. When you go to the store and get something, you know what it is. I don't care what brand it is. You know what it is. You know what you want. So when a guy establishes who he is and what he does well, normally he'll get away with a little bit more than with another guy who doesn't do the same thing as well that does something else. So different referees learn different guys' game, and you pretty much can figure out, because if they didn't do that, there's no way you can call a professional basketball game and get every call correct. There's no way.
It's tough. I mean, you're dealing with the best athletes in the world. I mean, far. I mean, do you think? I always said this. What if they raised the basket to 11? Would it make a difference?
No,
I don't think. I never thought it would.
It wouldn't make a difference. I mean, if you look at the athleticism now with the kids that's playing in the game today, it's crazy. I mean, these kids are getting personal trainers at 10 years old. Guys on Vertimax at 10 years old. You got a 10-year-old kid with a 36-inch vertical.
It's always amazed me when you see these guys. I mean, you look at LeBron. I mean, LeBron could have played in the 50s and, the 70s.
Yes.
Now, when we talk about big men, tell me a couple big men that smacked you around pretty good when you're driving to the hoop.
All of them.
All of them.
Because there were no flagrant fouls.
They were rougher back than they are today.
They were rougher, but what it did teach, it really taught guys how to have skill. Because you had to have skill to be able to finesse and maneuver your way around those big guys, because they can slam you to the floor and it just be a foul. Most of the bigs did that purposely just to send a message to the guards. And that's why most of the guards back then could really control the game from the free throw line beyond. Not from the free throw line in, because that belongs to the bigs. That belongs to the bigs. So you had to make a 15-footer consistently. You had to shoot a three-pointer once in a while. You had to make sure that you can make passes from those long angles and read defenses. And it just was so many of the intangible things that was involved when you had the bigs that dominate the game as much when I played.
So who was the most dominant at the time when you were Brown?
Wow. It was so many. You had Patrick. You had Elijah Wan. You know, you had Rick Smits from that was with the Pacers.
Wasn't he
when I
like
played
9
with
feet
Knicks.
tall?
Yeah, he was about 7. Dutch was about
7'3" or 4"?
7'2", 7'3". That can really shoot it. You know, so you had guys like that. Of course, you had Shaq, who came in later. Alonzo Mourning. Man, every team had like big guys like Kevin Willis, who was a big guy, and you know. You just had so many guys. They just had bigs. You know,
Well, you meet them, and it's just like Kareem. I still love the hook. You know, I used to take everybody down in horse in the old days.
Right.
Boom,
Right.
Kareem.
You know, what's surprising me today is that, and even in the past, since him, no one ever really learned how to shoot that particular shot.
Nobody.
You know? And I mean,
Magic was the next one.
Let's just think about this. Let's think about this. This guy is all-time leading scorer in NBA history, right? And no one studied or learned the very shot that scored him trillions of points.
I know.
Who does that?
I don't. I that's shocking. I've always said that. I said Magic won that game with the Celtics that one year. That he that's the baby hook.
Yeah,
That's it.
Wouldn't that take a kid? I'll put it this way: you take a kid, come down, let's say championship game on the line, guy make a move, boom, 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 NBA 3-pointer. Game over. That very hour, you have kids on the basketball court practicing that same move. Boom, 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 boom. 3-pointer. You know, they doing that. But no one goes out. I see anyone say, "Oh, Kareem, hook." You know,
Nobody can touch it.
No, but no one ever did that.
That's crazy. We're talking with Pooh Richardson today on Sport Report, learning about. I mean, I can teach the hook. I mean, I had that Nerf down, and I was
I was one of those guilty of not learning the hook myself. So I can't
one of the other thousands that you didn't do it. Hey, let's take a break. We got Joyride. I want to show Joyride is one of our new sponsors. Drop the balls and soccer balls at the Bianca Ray Foundation.
Nice.
And then also Stream TV, 500 plus channels, all sports. We'll talk about that when we come back. Here we are for the Sport Report. Joyride's going to take us out. We're going to check out the Coachella Valley. Really excited, everybody. Stay tuned. Going to do a weigh-in today, and that was embarrassing. But it's really exciting. Your new partner, Ivan, is coming along. You guys are branding this thing. Really appreciate you guys helping us out on Sport Report. All right. And all of our fans, take a look at joyride.com. It's really unbelievable. It's November. It's time.
Yes, it is.
There's the adventures you talked about, but also charters where people need to get to Vegas, need to get to L.A. You can make it in L.A. in about how long?
LA is 45 minutes. Yesterday we did 45 minutes from Thermal Airport, fully loaded, all the way to downtown San Diego. Also, we signed another contract for another year with NBC.
If Alex goes, it's a full boat, right? All right, we're back. Conrad Negron with Pooh Richardson today on November 13th, a Shield of Dreams production brought to you by Coachella Sports and Entertainment Stadium Authority. November 13th was my mom's birthday. We'll just kind of say it again. To all the friends out there, hi, Mom.
Happy birthday.
She's 37. She's a little younger than you.
How many days of celebration?
I think it's 60 plus days.
Now, when you get to be 90,
Yeah.
91,
Uh-huh.
man, that's incredible.
I know.
You should have like a year celebration. I hate to say that, but put a lot of pressure on you
Mom,
to come through
there's
for a
not
whole
tonight,
year.
not tonight.
To come through for a whole year, but to be 91,
I know.
that's got to be great, and to be so aware, and I had a chance that met your mom, so it's
You better
It's
be nice
amazing
to her because
thing.
she
amazing.
can hit 3-pointers.
But she looked like she can hit a 3-pointer for real.
5
So how
across
many
your
times
lips.
have you got one?
I got one of those. They always say in school, you go home and tell your mom the teacher touched you. I ain't telling nobody because she's going to definitely hit me harder than the teacher.
That's right.
Then my dad, he would just laugh. He said that was a good one, son. But I had it's great to have
Yes, man.
90-year-old, 91
Yes.
years old.
Yes.
She acts like she's 25.
Yes.
Except she can't run as fast as
That's
you.
all right. But she's enjoying life. That's
She's
the main
enjoying
thing.
life.
It's all
which
about the quality.
It is.
bro.
So let's talk about that quality of life. You play in the NBA. We can talk about that for hours.
Yes.
But eventually, you went to school and you prepared yourself. You saw some of your other friends do business and graduate and
Yes.
become doctors and lawyers and businessmen, and entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
What was your thing when you knew you're eventually going to stop playing in the NBA? What were your thoughts? What were you kind of like nervous, or you just like I don't really know what I'm going to do?
No, I really wasn't. I was already involved in businesses during my playing years. Fortunately, I had some nice people around me who understood the format of business, and like I said, a lot of my friends who I went to college with, those are the guys I hung out with more often than the guys
other
on
players.
the team. So, and those guys went on into business and went on and did things in life, and I just learned, and I learned the really simple concept, and this concept is real simple. And I would tell any
Tell 'em all. Tell 'em all.
any athlete, professional, college, and what have you. We all have to live somewhere, and your next door neighbor isn't always an athlete or a player. So that means that something that they're doing that's giving them are they having success at it, and they're your next door neighbor. It might be a little wise for you to find out what they do for a living.
That's true.
Because if they can afford to live next to you and you know what you make and you know what it costs to live there, why not learn that? And maybe you guys can have some kind of synergy and you can carry that on after basketball is over or any sport that you play after.
That's great advice to just because a lot of, I'm not just saying the NBA, but guys that made a lot of money don't have any money because they didn't get the right advice.
But it's really easy. I mean, everyone in if I'm a professional or whatever, if I'm playing sports and I live in a community and my neighbor is not my teammate, it's obvious that neighbor have some kind of business sense that's putting him in a position to be next door to you. You know what you make. And so if he can afford to live next to you, knock on his door.
Yeah.
He's probably eager to meet you, but probably afraid because
doesn't want to bother you.
Yeah, exactly. But forget that. Knock on his door, man. Let's go have a coffee or something.
That's awesome. So tell me, what kind of business? What are you doing these days?
Well, I spend a lot of my time COD helping out coaching. I do that. I spend a lot of time doing charity work. Quite naturally, we did the Bianca Ray thing. Also, just helping out with kids. Giving a lot of my time in that area. Started a company called Stream One TV, which was able to come up with a nice concept to make affordable live streaming cable TV for people to watch.
Well, just
affordable
amazing
prices and stuff like
it's
that.
It's amazing what Stream TV can do. We're talking you guys saw the commercials. We're going to be working with them as we get more and more into the show and the sport report. People contact Sean Durant or us, and we'll get you guys in touch with Stream One TV.
It's incredible.
You can watch everything you want.
Yeah, you can watch anything you want. And the beauty of it is that the concept was brought about because I had a strong belief that you have a lot of people who have difficulties financially, and to watch TV or to watch sporting events, and they miss out on a lot. Not saying that you learn everything from TV, but just it brings community. When you sit down as a family and you watching different shows and catching up on shows or watching sporting events, and you can't afford to get the NFL, or you can't afford to watch NBA or center ice hockey or soccer and all these things, and now you have another stream, or you have something that comes about that helps you to be able to get those things and watch all the channels and HBOs, and you can see all that at affordable price.
Well, the thing is you look, when you start adding, I'm not going to mention any names, spectrum. But I mean, you keep adding a couple channels, and all of a sudden you're paying $190, $200 a month, and you don't even know what you have.
Yes, and it's a little easier when you're paying $39 a month without a contract, and it's month to month. It's almost like having the prepaid cable, right? So it doesn't matter what you have at that point. And then when you actually turn it on and you see all the channels you have, all the access you have, now all of a sudden it becomes like, where I've been all these years not to get that. And I look at it also as like, where have I been not to be able to present this to people who can actually afford this, and not being like go broke and just to have family entertainment.
Well, I mean, it costs. I was talking to my friend the other day. He's got a 12 and a 13-year-old, and I said, you can't afford them, can you? You can't. I mean,
especially if you want to go to a sporting event.
Yeah,
some sporting events,
Well, even phones, $1,000 for a phone?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Come on, the average guy. I mean, the kids, I don't know how we made it because we played in the streets.
Yeah, we made it because we played in the streets, but we made it because we also had a foundation of family in your community, which is always strong. Because if you did something at your neighbor's house, you would get in trouble with that neighbor that was fully allowed by your parents. Then you'll go home and get another one. So you had to double up. You got the double up spanking.
I got the Lucy, the double fives.
Your double fives. And then hopefully your dad doesn't come home early and get a piece of that work
we just lied to him.
you know what I used to do, not to get off the subject, but I have to tell you this. I used to, when I got in trouble, I get it from the teacher. Then I go home and I get it from my mom. And I try to say, man, I'm figure out a way not to get it from dad, so I go to sleep. He wakes you up.
That fake sleep. You got that fake sleep going.
Yeah.
Well, today young kids can learn. We're with Pooh Richardson today on the Sport Report. They can learn, you're not, the majority of people aren't going to the NFL, aren't going to the NBA,
right.
aren't going to MLB, still enjoy sports. They got to get the grades. They got to get the education. Or they're in today's world, technology and stuff and things are so expensive.
Yes.
I mean, I know people making $200,000 a year, they're broke,
Well, I just think that it's all about collaboration. I don't think one person can do it themselves the way things are now. And I just think when you go to college, you have to, involve yourself with people who's doing the things that you like to do. And when you start doing things with alike people, when you guys are doing things that are alike and you developing a good synergy, you can go off and you can just do great things, man. And you don't have to be the best at anything that you do. You don't have to be the best. But if you strive to be the best, normally you're going to fall along those lines where you be okay and you be able to at least have a substantial living and take care of your family and all that stuff.
Well, like Coach Miller says above the line, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. I mean, that pretty much sums it up.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people at the Bianca Ray, we saw these kids this weekend that are on the edge of making a decision. Am I going to go over there and smoke with the homies or go do my homework?
Yeah. You know what's amazing?
And it both feels the same.
And I'm going to tell you what's crazy, right? Just the very thing, how they say, well, if you have a guy who's hanging around with bad friends, normally that's who he's going to be. Answer this question. If this guy really a good guy and he has good intention, he has good heart, he has good foundation, why can't he change those four guys to do what he's doing? Why do he has to fall into what they're doing?
Well, that's a good point.
How crazy is that?
I know.
If I have a great foundation and I have leadership qualities, I'm going to pull those guys out the mud, as opposed to the mud pulling me in. Because if that's not what I'm about and that's not who I'm about, then at that point, your friends are going to fragment anyway because they're not going to want to be around you because you always trying to do the right thing.
Don't do that. Don't go there. Come with me.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah,
so now, why doesn't that happen?
I like that.
And why we never speak about that?
You know what? I think that might be something to add to our program. Above the line, we're with Pooh Richardson today. Hey, let's take one more quick break. I want to show you some of that stream TV, which is blowing up all over the country. And everybody stay tuned. We'll be back with Pooh Richardson. playing. Hey, we're back with Pooh Richardson celebrating Mom's 91st birthday today.
How do you do that?
I don't know. I don't know.
You know what I told your mom? I said, hey, listen, I hope I had the privilege to be able to live that long.
I know.
And to have such a quality at that age. This is incredible.
Well, it's pretty much my cooking, so
That's what it is. Well, go ahead and fix me something now.
Yeah,
I'm ready. I'm going to eat it all.
She ain't drinking the poison. We'll get on Mom. Pooh Richardson, thanks for your time today.
No problem.
Talking about kids and lives and saving, young men and women that,
Yes.
Sometimes, like like we talked earlier about, a man taking a hug, from another man.
Yes, sir.
And those kids just, they grabbed, Coach Cummins and they felt that moment of really in the first time in their life, love.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're sharing that, doing the stuff that you do. Tell me a little bit, because I want to cover COD this year.
Yes.
So I want to come down there and, show me.
That'd be great.
I'll show you the hook. I'll show you the hook shot. But I know the athletic director, and they've been supporting us, so we'll do whatever we can in this valley with
Right.
Sport Report
Right.
to get the news out. Sean Durant's son, we're going to be covering Indio basketball.
Right.
They've got a great program down there.
Yeah, it's getting better.
Yeah,
They're
it's
definitely
getting better,
doing well.
and we're going to cover it. So anybody with any ideas, come to me, come to Pooh, and tell me you want to be on the show.
Yes.
Tell me about COD. How are they looking? What's the season starting soon?
Well, we basically 2-1 now.
Mm-hmm.
Team's looking good. We have a couple really good players. Some guys from out of state, but most of the guys are local.
Okay.
And you kind of want to get the core guys locally, and try to build your program from that, because I want most of the basketball players who may not have the opportunity to go to a Division I right out of high school. Or
That's
go
a
to
tough.
division.
That's a tough haul.
It's a tough one, but I really want them to feel comfortable with coming to COD, knowing that they will have an opportunity to get out of there and go to a Division I or a Division II school. And that's all about building within, and that's what we're doing.
Well, they're doing an amazing job at COD, and it, throughout the whole valley, this Coachella Valley is changing.
Yes.
And also, we talk a lot. We are the Coachella Sports and Entertainment Stadium Authority, and everybody has seen the plans. We're going to build a big stadium, a place of gathering, and medical facilities and hotels and senior living. Maybe we could both move there. Then we don't need a car. So it'll be all right there.
Yeah, how about that?
Yeah. So we're going to bring soccer. We're going to bring. We're obviously playing Coyote football.
Nice.
Our game is December 1st, the championship. So we appreciate everybody's love and support. In closing, Pooh, because you got to come back on the show.
Okay, no
Because there's a
problem.
million things I wanted to ask you.
Not a million, is it a million?
Just at least 100. At least my brother's got the old school game. I've
There
got
you
the
go.
new stuff.
Yeah.
But Alex does an amazing job out on the streets getting information about what's going on here
Yes.
in this Coachella Valley. In closing, what would you kind of tell our audience about business and how it correlates with sports and entertainment? I mean, how do you keep moving forward?
Well, you see it happen in today's market with the NBA, and also NFL is actually taking a page out of NBA's book, and I think the other sports will ultimately catch up as well. I just think that the marketing and the entertainment, a lot of youngsters who's playing sports at a young age, and I don't care if it's elementary school, high school, and then when they get on to college, they're doing a lot of stuff with entertainment because they're watching all the social media stuff. They're involved with, I have daughters, and my daughters was talking to me about guys and performers I've never seen in my life. You
never heard of them?
No, I never seen them, never heard of them, and I just picked them up from. They was at the Dodger Stadium. It was a big thing. I know Kanye West. That's the only one I know. The rest of them I didn't know were there performing. So, with so many things like that involved and it's intertwining itself with sports, it's huge. So even with guys that's in sports, they can transformate themselves after the sports into entertainment, and the entertainment people are getting themselves more involved in sports. They owning teams, or they being a part of teams, and they've been there. I mean, look at the Toronto Raptors. You see Drake all the time at the front row, but that was something that was going on in L.A. long time ago at the Fabulous Forum when the Lakers was winning the games in
Magic was
80s.
changing
Yes.
Crenshaw, changing the city.
Yes,
he's part of the Dodgers.
Yes.
We'll talk about
But you need
DFI.
help. you know, as an athlete, you know, you might have the finances, but you just need help and direction so everything go well, and you can have a great taste in your mouth about that. And then you'll see more athletes get more involved in the community.
Well, you're doing it, Pooh Richardson.
Thank you.
Thank you, my
Thanks
brother.
for having me,
Thanks
man.
for
As
it was
always,
really
man.
great.
It's good.
Hey,
It's
check
good.
out some of these a couple of videos that we did at the Bianca Ray, Jack Shripnick, Ron DeGrande, and then who else is on there today? Oh, have a couple of surprises. And we got the helicopter. Joyride came in and did an amazing job. That helicopter was blowing, wasn't it?
You know, man, I would like to take one of those things and just ride to LA one time just to feel like a big baller.
That's 45 minutes, bro.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
we'll set that up.
Man, I would love to do that, man. Serious.
He can get you to LA in 45 minutes.
That's all right, you know, and I don't mind paying for it though. I'm telling you, I would love it.
It's not expensive, you know. A couple $100. It's just it's not.
Yes.
It's not like $5,000 an hour on a G6.
Yes, man.
Okay.
And I don't need a G6 to go to LA, right?
No.
And then you get a better ride anyway. I would like to take that ride just to take that ride. Sometimes to beat traffic. How about that?
Well, no. You have to eliminate traffic. The traffic is so bad. I mean, it's like I'd rather pay the couple $100,
Bro. Brutal.
Doesn't matter what kind of car you have.
Brutal in LA.
Your Toyota goes as fast as your Mercedes. 5.
I'll take the desert anytime.
Pooh Richardson, you're coming back. Everybody, take a look at this.